Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. My name is Randy Sanders. I'm the city recorder. I bring greetings from Mayor Skinner, who is traveling on business. So I will be the chair of the meeting this evening. So I'd like to welcome everyone to City Council and the City Chambers, and of course all of those that are watching on television. We welcome you to the meeting here tonight for Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. And I welcome our new council member, of course, Council Lady Sheila Lewis Sines. So having said that, we will begin with our traditional moment of silence. Thank you. And if you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm on, Randy.
Okay, Councilman Ricker has joined us as well.
Hey, Jack.
Hi, how is everyone?
Good, thank you. And City Attorney O'Neill is with us as well. For now, he is joining us with the go-to-meeting. But I believe, Tom, you are in the building, right? He is? Yeah. He's right there.
Yes, I'm off.
Okay, great. All right, we'll check in with you a little bit later then. Thank you. Okay, so we will begin with our recognized guests. We are thrilled to have with us Buckhannon High School Student Council Representative, Mr. Hank Phillips. Mr. Phillips, if you'd like to go to the podium. I believe you are here. This should be item F10, approval of event request for the Buckhannon High School Homecoming Parade of 9/29/21, closure of Main Street and use of Jawbone Park for the pep rally.
That is correct. My name is Hank Phillips. I'm the junior class president at Buckhannon High School for Buckhannon High School Student Council. So over the past couple weeks, as tradition, we've been planning homecoming, and obviously that comes with a lot of insecurity right now, just with everything going on. So what we're looking to do right now is to move forward with scheduling homecoming as normal as possible, while keeping plans and backup plans in case things such as the health department suggests otherwise. So what we're looking to do right now is to close Main Street for the traditional parade that we've had many years. But the backup plan is what we did last year, which is essentially a reverse parade, which has the folks who are actually in the parade up at the high school, and people can come up and drive by and see them. So we have two options there, but we're really just looking for your approval tonight, and in faith that we will make the best decision with the health department on whether to continue and move forward with it. So.
Was your request, I didn't hear you mention anything about Jawbone Park.
Yes, that
did
would,
you?
Sorry, I did not say that. But yes, that would include the Jawbone Park, which is our traditional, again, pep rally that follows the parade. It would consist of members of such as school team sports, and those that are on the homecoming court would be recognized there. So.
I move we approve the request. Second.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to move the request, or to approve the request, and a second. Is there any discussion? How many, can I ask, how many people do you anticipate attending the rally?
On our application, we didn't put any more than 1,000, just with the parade and all that. So it varies by year, but it's hard to tell.
I would just bring the attention before we have a vote as part of the discussion that we have considered in Consolidated Public Works and in other areas the crowd situation in Jawbone Park, and we've declined other requests. So I don't know if anyone...
That's what I want to bring up. We have declined the use of Jawbone Park because of the reason of
But I
the
think
crowd side.
I think you mentioned guidance from the health department as,
Yeah,
you know,
and
whatever they say, you're going to accommodate, right?
any decision really that we make goes through, you know, the Board of Education and things of that nature. So I'm sure the health department will be very closely analyzed with that, because that's how the Board of Education has been doing their things. I can't speak on behalf of them, but just working with them, I assume that's probably how that's going to go. But if there had to be a situation where we could do the parade, you know, and if that sacrificed the pep rally, I'm sure that could be an option too, if that's a problem. So,
Any other comments?
I call for a vote.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. That was an aye? Jack?
Yes.
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 All those opposed, same sign. And I'm going to vote yay for opposed, only because to remain consistent with the others. And I am a graduate of Buckhannon High School, understand, 1976. And that goes back a ways. But to remain consistent with the other votes that we've cast. But I do wish you well, and you got the approval of the council. So
thank you so much. Thank you.
wish you well and success with it.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you. Okay. On our signage sheet, we do have one other person who would like to be heard, and that is, let's see, Laura Fowles. Laura?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I just have a question for the council, and it's about safety and health, like public health and safety. And I'm wondering what the council's position is on wearing face masks.
On what?
Wearing face masks.
Wearing face masks.
What's your position?
Well, I think we should be wearing them. I'm asking because we have a member on the council who believes that they are a mark of the beast. And I'm
Well,
wondering.
I think we have an issue. The mayor has an issue of policy. In the past, we've always just followed the guidelines from Charleston, I believe, Amby, is that correct? Yeah, and right now Charleston the governor hasn't provided any guidelines regarding a mask mandate.
Right.
So there is no mask mandate. I think right now it's a personal decision whether we wear a mask or we don't wear a mask. I usually wear a mask unless I'm speaking like I am right now. I always wear a mask whether if I'm going into a crowded area, you know, so on and so forth. But I think beyond that, you can tell who's wearing a mask, who isn't wearing a mask. So if Charleston does give a mandate, we'll certainly follow that mandate.
Okay.
Okay?
If they do a mandate, I would make a suggestion that they give a mandate for a mask that is effective. There are so many people that wear masks that really are not effective. And,
They're not. I mean, they may protect others from, if I'm sick and I wear a mask, I may protect others. And so if I was feeling ill or something, I would probably wear a mask. But since I'm vaccinated and not feeling ill, I'm not wearing one. But I've learned about respiratory issues by working in old buildings all the time, and I can tell you if you wear one of these masks and sand drywall, you're going to find out that they don't work very well. That there'd be just white streaks heading up your nostrils and into your mouth, and it's so I believe it's personal responsibility, self-determination, and whatever the health department or the government says, and I try to work within those boundaries.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I actually started wearing them again today in my shop because I deal with a lot of older customers, and some of them come in, and I feel that's my responsibility to try not to be a carrier of people who do come in who don't wear a mask. So that's why, and since the numbers are so high, that's why I've decided to start wearing a mask again.
Yeah, and we wear them at work. All my employees wear them at work, and that's for the same reasons that Pam wears them. But
Okay, so I think you've heard from everyone on council. Have any other questions?
I do. What is the council's position on minorities' rights? I mean, we have a member on this seat here
Laura.
who
Okay.
has
Go ahead.
publicly posted derogatory things about minorities who live in our town. And I'm wondering if you reflect those same ideas.
How many times have you been to council meetings?
Yeah, we're not gonna, Laura,
The public comment period
Right.
is not an
right,
opportunity for members of the public to interrogate members of the council.
right. You know,
Public
we're
comment
here
period
to,
is for members of the public to make comments, not interrogate the council.
yes, I agree with council. If you have any questions regarding any of the items on the agenda, you feel free to ask those questions. Okay, thank you.
And I'll tell Tom, our city attorney, I don't mind being interrogated anytime.
Well, that's fine, but
Just let you
Dave,
know. Well, not sitting up here as city council,
it's really not
but if somebody wants to call me at my house and interrogate me, I'll talk to them.
well,
And
yeah.
I'll talk to them as Dave Thomas, not the city council.
Okay.
And it's really not appropriate for the council to express opinions on hot button topics when those aren't on the agenda and there's really no matter to act upon.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, thank you. All right, so next up on the agenda are the department and board reports. So we're looking for the Director of Public Works, Jerry Arnold. Jerry, are you there?
Maybe. What's the question?
Man behind the curtain.
What's the question?
We want to know about all the good things going on in the Public Works Department.
Well, that should take all the 2 minutes. We canceled Truck Fest, and I've notified the Strawberry Festival and the Consolidated Public Works Board. Canceled all events scheduled for the September 17th and 18th weekend. The SYCC Children's Festival will be discussed at the September 7th meeting. I think Amby's got a report on that as well. Street Department, we started the demolition of the old sidewalks on North Spring Street, and the painting contractor continues to paint curbs as weather permits around the college area. As he gets those done, he'll just keep moving out from that area to paint curbs around town. Nothing new for sewer, water, or waste from last report. Engineering, just update on some projects Jay's been working on. The Vicksburg utility development, updated the water line and sanitary sewer line cost estimates were provided to the developer on Friday, August 27th for their review and comment. The developers have downsized the initial phase of the development so as the development only has 4 of the 17 lots at this time. The City Hall roof replacement, the notice of award to proceed has been issued on Friday, August 20th to Tri-State Roofing. The total amount of the project, including the 2 additive alternates, is $110,859.60. The contractors ordered the material, and once the materials arrive, they will advise the city as to when the roof replacement will take place. The city will retain the observation services of Sarah and Associates, who will monitor the asbestos removal phase of the project. The anticipated cost of the observation services will be approximately $3,000. And the U.S. EPA Risk Assessment and Emergency Response Plan, JH Consulting began work on the EPA required emergency response plan on July 7th, 2021. And that's all I have. I will add that I know that Amby had some water coming into the building with all the rain, so the sooner we can get that roof on, the better we are.
Okay, I agree, yes.
And we, with the rain ending, like I said, we're back on sidewalks both on Canal and Spring now.
Okay, great.
That's all I have unless there's
Any
questions.
How's
questions
the
for Jerry?
storm sewer on Spring Street going?
It is, they've set the last manhole. They are making the extension out the alley behind your restaurant now. And they will continue on up to Main Street. They're going to be ending somewhere 30, 40 feet shy of Main Street. And then we actually, the street department will come in the slot drain on Main Street we'll actually take the sidewalk up right there on the corner, and we'll make the connection of the slot drain into the new storm sewer as we do the sidewalk, so that we don't have that, there's actually a manhole right there at the top of that ramp on that corner. And we'll actually take that manhole lid out of there. It's kind of a makeshift box that was put in there when that streetscape project was done. And that'll help with that slot drain on that corner as well, CJ, but it's come along pretty well. The gas company, anticipate the gas company being in there next week to start their portion. Again, we went in and demoed last week a pretty large portion of the sidewalk on the lower end. So we'll be setting up some pretty long pours to get our sidewalks in. But you know, if we get some 3-4 weeks of good weather, again, we should make a huge difference in that project.
Are you talking about that section around the corner from the antique store? That section that has grass growing? What's going on with that section?
We just poured a section of that back. We had to make actually a trough to get the storm water out of the sanitary sewer, because as we're making those repairs, what we did there was we excavated. We found several issues there. There was some issues with repairs to the building, the basement on that building, and we found that the sewer, whenever they put the line in the street, they actually, instead of tapping directly into that line, they ran a line up the sidewalk, and it was pretty flat. And then it goes up to a manhole in the corner of the sidewalk there. Then from that manhole, it comes out and ties into another one in the street, and then runs back down the street. So it's going this way, that way, and then down the street. So, as part of the project, we're going to make straight lateral connections into the sewer from the building. So that's why that section's been omitted. As soon as the crew that's doing the storm behind CJ's in the alley is completed, which I anticipate next week, they will go to Canal Street, put those 2 service taps. There's actually 2 over there that have to be made. They'll make those 2 service taps, and then we'll pour that section of sidewalk back as well. But that's the holdup on why we didn't pour that back as soon as we exposed it. Yeah, yep, that's the reason.
Jerry, you made a comment about 4 to 6 months ago. I can't remember the specific date, but you had asked the community when they're using their trash receptacles to try to remember to put them in plastic trash bags. And you know, I think we need to remind people to do that again, because if you just throw stuff in your trash receptacle, oftentimes when the trucks pick it up, there's liquids or fluids coming out of it that will go onto the street. Is that correct, or my recollection of what you said that meeting?
Well, all garbage is to be bagged inside of the can. Now, will that stop the trucks from leaking in the street? No, because you're picking up water in dumpsters. And I had a lengthy conversation a few weeks ago with a fellow from the DEP in Charleston just about that subject. We had someone that actually filed a complaint about the truck leaking in the street, and he called me and he said, "I know there's nothing you can do about the truck leaking," but he said, "I told the individual that called me, if those trucks don't leak, they'll explode." Essentially, you're compacting that stuff into a closed container. So, you know, there has to be air escape and liquids when it's extremely wet. So, and I think I've told everyone here at one point in time that if you find me a garbage truck with a guarantee not to leak, that'll be the first one we put on the list to buy. They all do. We're very vigilant about checking there's a seal at the back of it that seals the part that compacts to the body of the truck, and weekly they're inspected for that seal to make sure the integrity of that seal is still there. But again, the seal only goes up about 2 foot on each side of the truck, so after the water gets in, there's plugs in those those tubs. But you can imagine that just like the rain event we had, and you've got 20 dumpsters around Buckhannon with the lids open on them. And again, CJ can tell you in the restaurant business, you don't want the plug out of your dumpster and that liquid running into the street from the restaurant location. So you're going to have some of it, Dave. And like I said, we do our best to try to contain it, but there's nothing 100%.
Well, I think we ought to put it on our website and remind occasionally that this is why I made the comment 4 to 6 months ago, because, I mean, it's just that, yes, only way you have to do that, and people need to know that. Be responsible for the rest of the community and their neighbors. I don't know if it's on the website now, what should be done, but.
So it's part of our, I know it's part of our tariff that's to be put into in the bags in a suitable watertight containers. Yeah. Is the way our tariff reads.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, thank you all. Take care.
Okay, for the finance report, we'll call upon the finance director, Abby Jenkins.
Okay, in your package, you're going to see your finance report for the balances for August 31st, 2021. General fund money market, $1,152,546. Your CD at $86,093. I still need to transfer $100,000 to municipal stabilization. I haven't done that yet, and the $70,000 to flood control. I was waiting on some technical things to close our books so I can start into September. Historic landmark savings, $3,026. Fire truck savings, $38,424. Stockert Youth Center capital campaign still remains the same with the pledge, $440,430. Coal tax, $52,415. Municipal stabilization fund, $814,000. Again, I've got to put $100,000 in there from general fund.
What was that amount again?
$814,776. Flood control account, $88,247, and again, I need to put $70,000 in there from general fund. Consolidated Public Works, $132,476, and the CD for the cemetery is $234,182. Sales taxes at $1,424,389, and we have the ARP money that we're waiting to start on the projects that we received in July is $1,192,267. The bills in your packet to be approved, I'm going to point out a few because actually I want to note that in August our revenues were, and that's the document that shows several numbers on it. Okay. Its revenues for the month of August was $235,358, and the expenditures were $424,647. So then I'm going to come back and talk to you about some of the bills we expensed that caused the expenses to be so high. We had asbestos inspection for 39 Sedgwick Street, $1,200. Heritage fire equipment for an assembly parapet for ladder for truck 11, $2,584. Potesta Association was for surveying of FEMA and city lots, $10,800. Scott Electric, $1,740 for conduit for the North Kanawha Street project. Superior Environmental, another asbestos inspection for the street department garage on Factory Street, $1,190. Upshur County Airport Authority, the first half of the budget that we budgeted for them, $17,500. Country Roads Transit, half of that allocation you gave to them, $5,000. Upshur County Health Department, $2,500. Again, that's half the allocation for the 21-22 budget year. TFS Recovery for the 2013 International Bus for the Stockert Youth Center was $24,999. I'll note that we did get a $12,000 donation from, that note here somewhere. And I think I told you this maybe the last meeting or at Stockert, I can't remember which. From River Valley Child Development Center, and $12,000 of that was used towards that bus. And it's nice. That bus is very nice, though. $14,500 Superior Environmental for asbestos removal at 65 East Main Street. And then to Mountain State Electrical, $28,173, and that has to do with the FEMA generator grant number 2. One more thing I want to note to you. The Children's Festival group met this week, and they'd like to modify their event and change it from a social gathering to a drive-through event at Jawbone. The reason I'm mentioning it now, we didn't have time to put it on the agenda for council, and the event's September 18th, so it's going to be too late for consolidated, of course. So if I can put the item on the agenda for the next council meeting, but before we do that, we'd like to kind of have an idea whether council would be in support of that idea before we go doing any more planning, because the council meeting's on the 16th, the event is on the 18th.
And what is it again?
The 18th of September, it's the drive-through event for the Children's Festival. So instead of the Children's Festival social gathering, it would be a drive-through event whereby the groups would hand out. Some of the groups had masks and hand sanitizer. They got a children's craft packet, and they've got coupons to give to the children. VIPS has agreed to help with the traffic control. And then and it would be a Jawbone drive-through.
And we did that last year, didn't we?
Not with the Children's Festival. We canceled it. The event is going to be called Children's Fest 2.121. That's so cute. Road trip pit stop. So they kind of wanted to know whether council would be in favor of that before we go making many more plans.
I know we can't take action on it, but I think it'd be a great idea.
I do
think it'd be good.
Then I'll put it on the agenda, and you can decide for sure on it formally at the next council meeting, so we can tell them to go ahead and proceed with planning.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if something drastic would happen, sort of similar to the high school, and we would of course modify that, yes.
The health department has.
If they said nothing, then we'd have to cancel. Yeah. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
I got one comment I'd like to make, if it's okay.
Okay, sure.
And I've talked to Amby about this before, and I've talked to the mayor about it. But I think as the city council and what we have forward for us for the next 5 years, we're going to have, with the sales tax, we're going to have anywhere between $9 and $11 million that we didn't have before. And I think that we need to, as a council and as a community, start thinking about how those resources will be advantageous for the community. And I'm hoping that in the next 3 to 6 months or 9 months or whatever, that we'll have some town hall meetings to discuss among the community where do they see Buckhannon in the future and what can be done with those kind of resources. We have infrastructure problems, I'm aware of that. But that's money we never had before, and we're going to receive it. And I think it's something that we ought to think about long term. And I've talked to him about this before.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Fire Chief J.B. Kimball.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How everybody doing? If you don't mind, can I take my mask off or I'll get the coughing while
Yeah, take it off.
Before you,
It's up to you.
before you commence with your report, I have the brochure that's been floating around here. Do you have it? Yeah, here we go. I don't know if CJ saw it or not, but
Very nice.
this was sent to me the other day. I believe one of your volunteers, Shane Jenkins.
Yeah, we have a recruitment committee that designed this brochure, and we're handing it out to events when we can attend and when they're open to attend. We took that to the Bobcat Fest over at Wesleyan when it opened up.
And I think it's from a marketing standpoint, which is where my background really is. I think it's a great marketing piece. Particularly like in the center, the bottom line, the best coffee in the world is available there. But CJ, you take a look at it. All right, Chief, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Indulging me.
I'll follow up with that. I'm here tonight too. Also, we are recruiting volunteer firemen. If anybody in our community is interested, pays low, but You know, it's a good place. It's a family atmosphere. Like we say, free coffee. It's good times. You know, helping the community is always good, and anybody that's interested can stop by. So, anytime. In your packet is your monthly activity for July. We responded to 106 events in July, and it's broke down there. We had 5 fires, 4.72%. Rescue and emergency medical services was 70, which is car wrecks and EMS calls. Our EMS calls, I don't have the numbers quite yet, but are up for this month. I know. I just want to make everybody aware that COVID is at a high rate increasing in our community, and we are seeing a lot of it on our responses. So try to, if you can, wear a mask when you're in close proximity, and if you don't feel well, don't come to work, and if you don't feel well, don't go to school. So as you're going down through the packet, year to date through July, 746 responses. So the one sheet there breaks it down how many times we went in the city limits, different communities. Actually, we went to a fire the morning that we had the college fire. We went to Philippine and assisted them with the fire. That's the first time I can remember going to Philippine in a long time. So volunteerism is not just an issue in our community, it's everywhere right now. So hopefully if we can start a trend with trying to get more volunteers, maybe we can pass that on to some other communities and help them out also. When you go on through the packet, the individual volunteers are listed there, and how many responses and time they spend at the fire department. We have several members that are volunteer members that commit a lot of time. We're fortunate to have a few that work in industries that they kind of watch themselves and they can leave and do stuff. So we're very fortunate in that aspect. We do have a young man also that is one of our shift work people. He's a member of another department, but about once or twice a week he comes and spends time at our fire department training and responding. And he's got a lot of experience. And we had a fire Sunday on Buckhannon Street, and he was one of a 2-man crew going into that structure fire. And he has really came along with his training and his abilities. So it's always good. So going back to my sheet here, I'd like to thank Glenn Davis and Mike Farnsworth. Glenn is a captain on the volunteer in the volunteer organization. Mike Farnsworth is one of our contributing members. He's a diver. We don't really have a dive team anymore, but we still have 3 divers for that need if we ever have it. They went down, Kelly Arnold from the water department had called me. They had an issue with a pump system in the water intake, and our guys had to dive down to look for a weep hole in that system. And they went down and it wasn't there, and it was supposed to be there. And they spent a couple hours up there looking for it and doing whatever Kelly needed them to do. Well, the company had to come and pull the pump, and it wasn't manufactured the way it should have been. So I would like to thank Kelly, and the company gave the volunteer fire department a $1,000 donation for doing that. So Glenn and Mike went down there and did the brunt work, and I'm glad we can help them, and any department we can assist with that, we will. As you look down through your packet in the strategic issues, I have a couple things with civil service that are going on. We can discuss that after a bit. The new truck, it's delayed, just like everything else. It can't get a DEF system right now. Suffolk was getting 15 of them a week. They're getting 2 now. So we're talking probably January. So just like everything else, COVID, the plant that apparently made the DEF systems, they had a hit with COVID. People were off. It backs everything up. So we blame everything on COVID anymore. So it's COVID. So hopefully before long we'll have some pictures of it, the cab and everything done on it, and we can move on. We've been in discussion with the Board of Education. The Board of Education approached our department We have 11 CPR first aid instructors. They would like to start that back in the school system. And depending on the age group as to what certifications they get, there's a friends and family, which is not a certificate. You just get a paper that says you completed it. And we were talking about doing that for like 4th graders through 8th graders. And then the 9th through 12th, that way if they decide to go into the medical field, they can have a certified card. It's very cheap for, normal card, we charge around $40 for people that come in and take the class, but it's called a K through 12 system, it's like $4. So, and if you remember, here a while back, we had a ceremony where an 11-year-old girl did CPR on her grandfather until we got there, and he's alive and well today. So we're trying to get that back into the school system. And with our Heart Safe initiative, that's a huge taking on, of course, with a lot of kids, but if we can save one life, it'd be beneficial.
So how many kids normally go through that?
Right now, no, unless they get it on their own, Mr. Islands, there's nothing in the...
When you put on the program, how many do you run through the program?
Well, what we discussed, and we're not down to, specific things yet, but like the grade schools is going in and just demonstrating CPR, explaining how to call 911, stuff like that for like 4th and 5th graders. The 6th, 7th, and 8th, we have some mannequins going class to class, and then the 9th through 12th, we'd like to go to the health department or health classes. But I'm also asking the Board of Education to reach out to their teachers to see how many would like to become instructors. We can teach them to be instructors. It doesn't take all of us to go up and teach the classes. They can do it at their leisure at times, but they would fall under our training facility. So that's what we're kind of looking at right now. It's in the beginning stages, but that's all positive to me. People are thinking about it. So
have you budgeted an amount for this? Or?
They pay for it. The Board of Education would pay for it.
Okay.
So it would be other than just us going up, unless we'd have to replace some mannequins or something like that, there would be no cost to us. So.
I know things are a lot different now than when I was young, but Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts used to do, life-saving techniques for years back in the actually 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And, it may be hard to believe, but it's a lot of changes have taken place.
Sure.
In what you do. Sure. But that's a really great idea.
Yep.
And I think as the conversations involving around teaching kids employable skill sets in a new high school and whatnot, that maybe there's a space in there for the fire department or emergency services training.
Joey Bax and I presented a class at the trade school. I want to say it was 10 years ago, and the trade school at that time was not really set up for that, and we didn't really have a place to do the practical stuff, so there wasn't a lot of interest. And I bet we're coming to the point now that as there's more career involvement in the fire service, yes, that would be something we could talk about. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
Anybody have any questions? I'll see you again here in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does Jack have a question?
I think Jack's just making some noise over there. Jack, do you have a question?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, all right.
No, I'm good. The only thing is, now let me say one thing, and I'm speaking from experience, and that is, I think it's commendable to offer classes on, firefighting, EMTs, etc. But those classes have a tendency, just not here, but everywhere, to become a dumping ground where they load kids in who genuinely are not interested. That if we have that type of relationship with the school system, with emergency services, it needs to be serious students. And I hate to throw water on the fire here, but I think that needs to be understood. We don't want it to be a dumping ground. It needs to serve a purpose. And the purpose is good. And the goal needs to be ever in front of those making decisions. That's all I've got to say about it.
Okay,
Good point.
thank you, sir. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
City Attorney Tom O'Neill has let me know that he has asked for an executive session, a brief executive session after the council meeting. and he'll reserve his conversation with us for that. So that takes us down to correspondence and information. In our packet, council members, we have the official oath of office for council member Sheila Lewis Sines that you can review. City Public Relations, Sheila Lewis Sines sworn in as Buckhannon's newest city council member. City Public Relations also, Police Department adds 2 certified officers to the force, and I would like to pause there. And I had asked Corporal Marshall O'Connor and Patrolman Jacob Garrison to stop by. They were featured, or Jacob was featured in this article. Gentlemen, are you still here? I know we took a while to get to you. Yeah. All right. Corporal, thank you so much. And Patrolman Jacob Garrison, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so Councilwoman Sines and Mayor Skinner and myself came down to the safety complex and met with you and the chief and also your counterpart who also graduated. If you'd like to, I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you'd like to tell us just very quickly about your experience in the training academy that brought you now to this point, that takes you out on the road under the supervision of Corporal O'Connor.
So I graduated State Police Academy on August 6th of last month. It was 10 weeks straight through. We got 1 weekend off. Came home on July 4th, which was great. Everyone at the police department thought I quit. It was just a surprise. Now I'm in FTO, which is 12 weeks with the department. I'm on my 2nd phase. Fisher just finished up his 4th phase. So I still have 2 more to
signed
go.
off officially next week.
Okay. Okay.
So I still have 2 more phases. Fisher's done, and then once I get through this, I'll be on the road by myself. I don't have to have Porsche looking after.
So congratulations.
Yeah,
Right.
congratulations.
Well, I know that I was honored, and I'm sure Councilwoman Sines feels the same way for being there to officially congratulate you. But I wanted to share it with the other council members as well. Corporal O'Connor, how's he doing?
He's doing pretty good. One of the better ones I've trained.
Okay.
So he's got a good head on his shoulders, understands the laws, can actually talk to people. It's a big part of the job.
That's a good thing. Communication is a good thing.
I should ask you who can.
Well, gentlemen, I know I put you on the spot. But as far as speaking, I did want to introduce Jacob, Patrolman. Thank you so much for being here, and again, welcome to the force. Welcome to City of Buckhannon as one of our finest.
Thank you.
And continuing on then with the correspondence and information, also in your packet is a notice accepting application for water plant operator, position deadline date of 9/10/21. Notice accepting applications for maintenance bus driver position, deadline date of 9/10/21. A couple of Folio requests. We have a Folio request from Kesner & Kesner PLLC, Attorney at Law, reason and accident report. A Folio request from Key Zoning Assessments LLC, reason Taco Bell Planning, Zoning Development Plans. A notice accepting letters of intent for competitive examination for position of rank of captain in the Buckhannon Fire Department. Notice of Fire Civil Service Commission accepting application for position of probationary firefighter. Letter of verification to the Buckhannon Housing Authority. Reason Kelson Drive and Hinkle Drive are in the city limits for their federal inspection requirements. Upshur County Board of Education's news release, Upshur County Schools Vision of the Future public meeting schedule. 2021 State Auditors Training Seminar for municipal officials and assistants. Registration and schedule. FEMA Generator Project, confirmation of approval of change of scope letter, number 3, budget revision number 2. Fire Civil Service Commission meeting schedule for October 2021, and a letter from the Upshur County Commission, reason Upshur County American Rescue Plan Fund allocation, and Commissioner Thomas had asked me earlier about that. We're still in the mix as far as our request that was submitted to the Upshur County Commission for assistance on a tenant and water tank rehabilitation for collaboration. We have requested that they assist us with half of the funding for that rehab project. No decision has been made. We have not been notified. We're still waiting for a time that we can go to the commission and find out what their final decision will be. So we're looking forward to hearing from them, and our fingers are crossed that it'll be a positive response once we do get that notice to come talk to them. Okay, now we're down to the consent agenda. So we have in the consent agenda, we'll be asking for approval of the minutes. Now, what you've received are regular minutes for the meeting of July 15, 2021 and August 3rd of 2021. You still have not received August 19 of 2021, so we'll need to remove that for approval. But you do have 7/15 and 8/3. Also be asking for approval of the building and wiring permits and approval of the payment of the bills. So could I have a motion for the approval?
Second.
And a second. We have a motion by Mr. Rollins and a second by Ms. Bucklew. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
You're for or against?
He's for.
You're for, Jack?
It was just a delay.
I'm for it.
Okay, all right, a little delay there, that's all. As am I. I'm for it too. I forgot to vote.
Delay for 6 months, really.
I know, I gotta get the rhythm down on that. Okay. So, it is passed unanimously, Amby. Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, strategic item for discussion and or vote. First up, Fire Civil Service Commission recommendation of top 3 candidates to council for consideration of hiring and to set date of interviews for position of probationary firefighter. Chief Kimball.
Yes, sir. Basically, I was with the Fire Civil Service Commission the other day. They certified the list of 3. That's how many we have at this time, to move them up for City Council and the Mayor to interview. Basically, we just need a date to do that, for you all to interview and decide what you want to do with the process. And then once you do that, it's up to you whether you hire none or hire 3. But we did, as you look on down, we have set up the dates to go ahead and test. So no matter what happens, state code requires a list of 3. So even if you hire one of these, you're going to have to test again eventually. So we went ahead and did that process.
So is there a maximum number of potential candidates or just the minimum?
You pull the top 3 or the ones that get interviewed, whether you have 50 on the list or...
And normally it's per one position, but we're kind of in a
You'd have to
different
ask Tom that.
situation.
I know in past history I've heard departments doing it differently. I'm not... I've always been told it's the top 3 to begin with, so that's...
What happens if we hire 1 fireman instead of 3 at the same time? What does that do?
So what that'll do, if you hire 1 out of that 3, then you have a list of 2, which is not allowable.
Right.
So those 2 can make the decision to remain on the list at the score they have, or take the test again at a retest. So either way, they have that option. If they feel comfortable with their score, they can remain on there. If they don't, they can retest. But whatever decision they make at that point, they are sent a request to determine what they want to do.
But I'm more interested in what it does to you, as far as scheduling, as far as training.
Well, the way we got it set up, Captain Baxter, our training officer, we've already sat down. If we were to hire 1 right now, they will go on a specific shift, and that specific shift, because we have a certified instructor on every shift, will be responsible for their mentoring and their first 6 months. So
it's not going to diminish your quality of training?
I'll just have an extra person on 1 shift at that time, which that's fine at this point. And as the testing procedure goes on, then we could gather 2 more later, or that's up to you all once we do interviews. So.
But we've never hired 3 people at the same time.
We've hired 2. Not 2. 2's the max I've seen, yes. So yes.
Well, I would recommend we go ahead and set a date to interview the 3 we have, while we're also looking for more members, building the list and so forth.
Are they all from Upshur County?
Yes.
And they're in your packet, F1.
And you like to interview them at the same time?
Yes, that's what council normally does.
Yep.
You know, you pull the top 3 in.
Yeah. For us to set a date tonight, would it be better for Teresa to send council members some options?
You can do it however you want to. If you want to take the time to do it, or we can just start sending out emails and see when it's going to coordinate with everyone.
Robbie's not here, so let's do it when Teresa.
Yeah, I think since the mayor's not here, and we all have crazy schedules, why don't we go ahead? I'd like for it to go ahead and consider the action, but then allow Teresa to coordinate with the chief and then send us all emails to let us check our calendars and set a date so that the mayor is included in that. I think that would make more sense than for us to arbitrarily set a date and find out that the mayor has a conflict. So I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Whatever you say.
Okay.
So,
Well, okay. Thank you, Pam. All right, so I have a motion by Bucklew and a second by Rollins that we approve, let's see, the recommendation of the top 3 candidates for council for consideration of hiring, and we will set a date then for the position of interviewing them for the position of probationary firefighters. So we have the motion, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, aye, I say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. F2, Fire Civil Service Commission recommendation approval of the updated Firemen Civil Service Commission rules and regulations. And the Fire Civil Service Commission is a separate body of 3 individuals, very well versed, that work closely, very well versed in what is needed and required to operate the fire department's civil service side of issues and so forth. They do a lot of homework. They do a lot of work in designing these manuals and so forth. I know they have meetings with you, Chief. Amby's involved. City Attorney O'Neill's involved. And they have put together this updated Firemen Civil Service Commission Rules and Regulation packet. And that was emailed to all of us prior to this meeting. So we've had a chance to take a look at it. Do Amby or you have any comments on that?
Not unless you want me to go over the highlights of it for everybody.
Sure, I think you should, since the media is here, other people are watching and listening.
So the Fire Civil Service Commission has reviewed a draft for a few months now. We've kind of went over the entire rules and regulations. So I'll just point out the main things that were kind of changed throughout it. Section 4.12 authorizes a candidate to sign a waiver of a physician's signature for the physical agility test. So that's one part of it. We didn't have that waiver. They always had to get a physician to sign off on it. Now they can waive that part. Throughout the document, there was a significant change because Fire Civil Service used to do an oral examination and interview, and they no longer need to do that. That's been completely removed from it. Right now, they just do the physical agility test and then the written test. Candidates applying for the probationary firefighter position will be required to have a West Virginia approved firefighter 1, an IFSAC or Pro Board certification. And then the job descriptions for captain, lieutenant, probationary firefighter were described in more detail. So there's an addendum to that describes those actual job positions. Also, psychological evaluations will be required for probationary firefighters as well as the medical examination that they already had upon the hire of those probationary firefighters. So I think I picked up the major things that were changed.
We did add the veterans can test up to age 40 now. That was a change. It used to be 30. You couldn't have reached your 36th birthday, and now it's 40 for veterans. That can test.
State code changed that.
State code changed that.
All these changes, the state code changes.
Some of them are internal, but most of them are state code.
So, having said that, then I would entertain a motion to approve the recommended, or the approval of the updated Firemen Civil Service Commission rules and regulations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Bucklew, and I've got a second by Mr. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed, same sign. And I say aye to the approval, so it passes unanimously.
Just don't make us old guys take us like this.
Why not?
I'll take it.
Better counsel was saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be dignified as a chair, so I'll reserve the comment that's floating out of my head. All right. While you're standing there, we have an event request, Firefighter Association Bell Ceremony, 20-year memorial of 9/11, a virtual celebration, no public gathering due to COVID-19. I was present at the meeting that this was discussed, and I think it's a great idea, but Chief, if you would expand upon it just a little bit more.
Everybody knows the 20-year anniversary of 9/11 is coming up. I remember exactly where I was when it happened, just like most older folks than myself remember where they were when President Kennedy was shot. It's 20 years. It's a small event. It'll be firemen and limited to some. We're going to do YouTube or Facebook. I'm not an IT person. We have a bell at the firehouse that I have a feeling we're going to ring when the first plane hit the first tower. There will be a short video in the beginning of 30 to 45 minutes that will be presented over Facebook and YouTube. So be limited to just firemen, a couple light speakers, no public coming in, and ceremonial type event. So we were going to have it at Jawbone, but then we were worried about the weather and putting the ladder truck up with the flag and stuff. So so we just decided that we're going to pull the trucks out of the bays and have a little ceremony at the firehouse. So.
We approved the ceremony.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Rollins, a second by Mr. Thomas. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
Our best ever.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
To all your firefighters, same thing.
The mayor has asked us to consider the approval of the appointment of Councilmember Sheila Lewis Sines to the Waste Collection Board. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Thomas?
Give Jack a chance here.
Pardon me?
Second.
And Jack is a second. All right, thank you.
Good idea.
We give Jack got a second in there. We gave the delay. It's tough when you're on the phone and you're trying to get it in there. All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Thomas, second by Mr. Rieger. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, approval, addressing and mapping, renumbering of Beach Street. Hello,
Hello again.
Mr. Arnold.
We had a request from the post office on Beach Street. There was some confusion on numbers. Back when the E911 addressing was originally, the project started, those folks up Beach Street were included in the county's project inadvertently, because the county does have a portion of that road is in, or a portion of Victoria is in the county, so they numbered the whole thing. Long story short, some of the folks went ahead and used those addresses, even though the county sent letters back out saying that it would stay with whatever address was on those structures at the time from the city's ordinance. So we had contradictory numbers on part of Beach Street, still do at this point in time. So what we're asking for is to just go ahead and revert back to the original addressing that was done by the county, because the city style addressing that's there now, some of them are odds on the right, evens on the left. We have, it's just a cluster in that area right now. So we wanted to go back, and we've notified all the neighbors. We sent out the notification letters. I have talked with Mr. Poach, and I had a call from Terry Brandt, which is one of the retired city employees, and I tried to reach back out to him this evening, but I have not talked to him. But I haven't had anyone that was opposed to the change, and again, the post office has asked for that, so that's where we're at.
Okay. All right.
It is a bit of inconvenience for them. They're checking counts and driver's license. but I guess if this is, puts everything straight, then so be it, huh?
Well, it's an opportunity to go, the county addressing system, the way it is set up is a much more efficient system, I will say. Not that the addresses we have are deficient in any way, but it is set up on every 10.56 feet. There's a number assigned. So again, when it comes to emergency response, you know, the fire department, the police department, whatever knows by the number on that address, the approximate distance to that structure. So if we're going to change numbering, and that was the whole spirit of the city ordinance and addressing and mapping, was to provide street style addressing, but making it the most unintrusive to our residents. So that's why the city elected to have their own ordinance at the time. So if we're going to renumber, it just makes sense to go to the better system also.
I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Thomas, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bucklew. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So that was a spirited aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jerry.
And next up, Jerry, we have a request to approve a purchase of a light equipment utility vehicle for the street department.
Yes, that is the piece of equipment that we had a Kawasaki mule that we used to plow our sidewalks with, and actually that was the Kawasaki mule 2.0. We had one before that and replaced it with this one. It has outlived its expectancy, and we did not have this piece of equipment in the budget this year, but I told Amby that we probably better be thinking about replacing it because, you know, I hope we don't have any snow, but odds are we're going to have a little bit, so we're going to have to plow sidewalks. However, rather than just going with a stock side-by-side, I'm looking at a vehicle that we can actually utilize our attachments for our skid steer on as well. So it'll plow snow. We can run a snow blower. We can run you know, brush hog on it. Actually have a bucket on a boom on the front and a bucket. So it's not just a side-by-side type vehicle. It's actually a utility construction vehicle. So I'm asking. Price range, I haven't quoted it yet, CJ, but it's going to be much more than what a Kawasaki mule is. I can tell you that because of the hydraulics. I would say probably in the 50-ish range.
How much?
Probably in the 35 to 50 would be a guess.
35 to 50.
Yeah, would be a guess.
Can you bring a quote back next meeting?
Can I do what?
Can you bring a quote back next meeting?
Well, actually, what I'm asking for is approval to solicit bids.
Sure, so moved. I think we
And
should.
then I'll bring the bids back. I'll open them and bring the bids back here for approval at that time.
So I have a motion by Thomas to approve the. Well, this is approval of a purchase.
Well, it should be bid.
To get the quote.
Yeah.
Okay, so the motion is approval to request to bid.
Yes. Yes.
Bid. So all council members understand that it's not approval to purchase, but approval to solicit bids.
Yes, we're not ready to purchase. It has not been bid out.
Okay.
But I will hopefully get the specifications together this weekend and get the publication out. But no, this is to solicit bids for this.
Okay.
Jerry, the only thing I disagree with your presentation is I like snow.
All right, so we have a motion to approve it, with that correction, that is to request bids on the equipment. Do we have a second?
Yeah, second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion by Thomas, second by Bucklew. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Appears that the motion carried unanimously. And Okay, Mr. Arnold, we need approval of the demolition of the Madison Street structure and the associated asbestos inspection fees.
Seemed like I had an awful lot of items on this agenda.
You're a busy guy.
Trying to get out.
We talked about this last council meeting.
We did talk about this in an executive session. Again, we will be renting equipment to do some raising of structures around town. We've tried to combine all those at once so that we can be more efficient in the demolition of them. And the question was, do we want to go ahead and raise the bank building while we have the equipment rented? So that's the question of council now.
I would make that motion.
Okay.
And that also involves possible, or that actually not possible, but associated asbestos inspection fees.
Yes.
So, okay, did we hear that over here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve demolition of Madison Street structure and the associated asbestos inspection fees by Thomas. Does anyone second that?
Second.
Ryland second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those, any opposed, same sign. Motion carried unanimously. And for the media, I'm going to do a news release, that'll list all the properties that are involved in the demolition that's planned.
We'll take some pictures.
There you go. All right.
Thank you all again.
Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, so F8 is approval to renew the annual renewal loan for the Fiore concrete truck. Amby?
So, as you all are aware, you're municipal government, so you cannot go into a loan on an extended basis without some sort of non-appropriation clause involved in it that requires it to be sort of like a lease on an annual basis. Normally we go into these and they're just approved by the mayor year by year, but First Community Bank is asking that they want the approval in a set of minutes, so I have to get these minutes out tomorrow. In order to renew the loan for the concrete truck. The balance on that loan right now is $153,443. We make monthly payments of $2,676. The interest rate is 2.375%, and it'll probably be paid off somewhere around September of 2026. So I need approval if you want to continue to keep the.
There's no penalties to pay it off early, right?
Well, that interest rate,
I'm not saying we do it. I'm just saying there's no penalties.
no. Well, there is some things in there that they get a little fussy about. That's not
okay.
a penalty.
So there's not a penalty.
Yeah, there's not a penalty.
So we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right, Rollins motion, Thomas second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now, the mayor has put forth again appointments fiscal year 2021-2022 for the Upshur County CVB. Councilmember Representative Randall Sanders, that would be me. He also has informed me that he still has no one to put forward for the 2 vacant seats on the television cable board. So the only appointment we would be entertaining tonight would be that for the UCCVB, Councilmember Representative Randall Sanders. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Thomas. Motion by second by Signs. Okay, there you go. We got a second by Signs. So motion by Thomas, second by Signs. All those in favor, say aye.
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 I will abstain since it involves me. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. We've already dealt with F10, so F11, Amby, authorization to use City Hall as voting precinct 9 for elections.
I'm trying to keep up with Jerry tonight.
I know. It's your turn.
Okay, so I've had a discussion with the county clerk a couple of times, indicating she was interested in bringing the voting precinct back to City Hall. As you recall, we used to be a voting precinct, and that was moved to the lobby of the courthouse at the annex part. So she's kind of had to move forward with this a little quicker because the school election is going to come up on the 15th. She needs to prepare to move this precinct if you're agreeable in allowing them to use City Hall as a voting precinct. We have parking out back, adequate parking. We have a handicap space. There's plenty of room in here to set up the equipment. They can set it up. They can get it delivered the day before. It won't be like at the lobby where they have to do it last minute. We can get it set up the evening before for the election. And then they can social distance too and have a better avenue of getting out of the building without encountering a lot of people. So next year, just as an FYI, January 15th, May 10th, and November 8th are the elections next year. If you're agreeable for them to
The
use it.
15th is the school board, is it?
No, January the 15th, yes, it's supposed to be the school.
Okay. All right, well, I think it's a great idea to cooperate, work with them. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Buckley, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Whatever.
Signs,
I was waiting for Jack.
second by signs. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And that takes us down to comments and announcements. Mrs. Bucklew.
Nothing.
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 Mr. Rylands.
I'm good.
Wow. Mr. Thomas.
Just welcome Sheila on the council.
Okay. Mr. Rigger.
I don't have any comments tonight.
All right, Mrs. Lewis signs.
I just want to say thanks. Everybody's been so welcoming and very polite, and I just appreciate it all. Thanks.
All right. My comments, I'll just actually speak for Mr. Skinner, Mayor Skinner. He wanted to thank all those who were involved in the flooding, the recent flooding, and all of the city employees, the administration, everybody that was involved in getting the word out to the media and so forth. He appreciates everybody stepping up and doing what they do every time that there's an emergency and every time that there needs to be a quick reaction. Thankfully, we got through without too much incident. You know, Triangle flooded. That was the big story, you know. That was, and then some of the streets, you know, of course, but obviously some homes, you know, did sustain damage and so forth, and our hearts and prayers go out to those folks. It's Mother Nature at her finest when we get rains like that. So there's parts of the country that we all need to keep really in our hearts and prayers. They're suffering greatly this evening. So with that, I'll remind council that...
Can I say one more thing, Rand?
Sure.
I just want to thank everybody in law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, and our veterans, and all the different branches of the military. Thank them for what they do. And I'm from a military family, and I just worry about what's happening to our society. But I thank everybody that has been involved with the different services provide safety for our country.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And I thank everyone for coming together while the mayor's out of town. And we wish him safe travels. And spoke to him today, so I told him Godspeed. We'll welcome him back very soon. Very quick executive meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. That'll do it. No actions will be taken. Nothing will be reported. It'll be on